All right, welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we've got a really fascinating source text. It kind of throws our usual understanding of the world into question, doesn't it?
It really does. It introduces a concept that's so fundamentally different and makes you pause and really reconsider basic cause and effect.
Exactly. So we're diving into what this text calls the inverted Genesis hypothesis. Now, Genesis meaning like coming into being or origin.
Right.
So inverted Genesis. Yeah, it's about things coming into being in, well, a flipped or reversed way.
hmm
Our mission today is really just to unpack this pretty mind-bending idea, try and make it as simple as possible using the insights from the source itself.
And it's a big challenge because it goes against that fundamental arrow of time we usually assume for origins. We think things start in the past, move forward, unfold into the future. Standard stuff.
Yeah, the standard model. But this source suggests that maybe for certain phenomena, that's not the whole picture. The core idea, really, is that some things might actually originate, or at least be influenced from the future,
Correct.
and then move sort of backward toward the present and the past.
It almost hints we're maybe only seeing half the process.
Right. So instead of that push from the past creating the present.
It's more like a pull from the future. The source basically proposes what if what we see as the initial conditions, the causes back then, what if they're actually effects?
Effects.
Yeah, effects or results that originate from a state that's already kind of formed or fixed in the future.
Okay. The text has a great, simple way to think about this. It asks you to imagine, say, an organism, or maybe just a specific event,
Mm.
not being born in the past like we normally think.
Mm.
Instead, picture it like it's expanding backward in time, from a future state that's already happened or is set to happen.
That bookstore example they use is perfect for this. Let's walk through it. So imagine you suddenly get an urge right now, today, to go to a specific bookstore.
Go.
Your first thought is probably, oh, I just feel like browsing. Or maybe, I need a new book. That's the normal past to present thinking. Some feeling now or a decision you just made causes the action.
Right, that's how I think about it.
But this inverted Genesis idea, as the source puts it, it suggests a totally different potential reason.
Yeah.
It could be that in the future, maybe next week, maybe next year, you are inevitably going to find a very specific book in that exact store.
A book that's important.
Yeah, one that significantly impacts your life. And that future event, finding that book, that's the actual origin point, according to this hypothesis.
Wow.
It's this future result that somehow sends back, well, a kind of influence, an effect moving backward into your present and past.
And that influence is what makes me feel the urge to go to the bookstore today.
Exactly. Even though from your perspective now, you have no conscious idea why you're really going.
So the future outcome, finding the book, it effectively becomes the cause I perceive right now,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to go to the store.
Yeah.
It's like the destination is creating the journey, but backwards in time, at least for the origin part.
Precisely. And the source is quite careful to clarify, this isn't science fiction time travel, no DeLoreans or anything.
Right, no zipping around.
No. It describes this purely as a nonlinear model of Genesis, just a different way things might originate or come into being. Fundamentally, it's the idea that the future outcome creates its own necessary conditions back in the past and present for itself to actually happen.
Okay, so how does the source suggest we could, even spot something like this happening if it does happen?
Well, it briefly touches on that. It suggests maybe looking for what it calls causeless events.
Causeless, meaning?
Things that seem to just happen,
Yeah.
manifest without a really clear, understandable cause right before them in the usual chain of events. Or, alternatively, looking at systems or processes that seem to have this unusually strong, almost predetermined sense of purpose, like a goal that's just built right into them.
Ah, I see. The idea being that if something is being pulled from the future.
Its path might look less like a random walk of cause and effect from the past and more like a direct trajectory towards that future state. Maybe even skipping some expected intermediate steps or just having a very clear inherent direction.
So bringing it back to you, the listener, why does thinking about this matter? I mean, it's pretty out there.
It is, but it matters because it forces us to question something incredibly fundamental, how existence itself might work. It challenges our deepest assumptions about cause and effect.
And if future states can genuinely influence our present actions, even if we're not aware of it, that opens up some huge questions, doesn't it? About our own decisions, our motivations.
Absolutely. In the nature of free will itself, it really does flip the script on how things begin.
So just to quickly recap this core idea from the source. Forget thinking everything is purely pushed into existence from the past. This hypothesis suggests some things might actually be pulled into being, drawn from the future.
Which leaves us with, well, a provocative thought for you to consider. If a future outcome you're moving towards could genuinely be influencing your choices and actions right now, how does that reshape the way you think about your own free will, or perhaps even the concept of destiny?